And so this is Kristen, right?
Yes.
You know, Kristen, let's because you're here, let's just do it now. And if the other student who I have scheduled for right now shows up, then they'll just do it after.
Sounds good.
Because you're here, I don't want you to have to wait, and I'd rather not wait too. So I'm glad. I'm actually glad you're early. So, um,
Okay.
okay. So, do you need a minute, or are you ready to start now? Then,
I am gathered and ready.
awesome. Okay. So tell me about your topic. Tell me what it is. Give me a summary of the relevant points, and tell me how it relates to what we've talked about in this class. And then I'll ask you a few questions, and then we'll be done.
Okay. I decided to do it about The Dark Knight,
Okay.
the 2008 film, and I'm just going to talk about each character and how they relate to like morals and like examples and stuff like that.
Sounds good.
Okay, so for let's say Batman, I have utilitarianism. So he does what's morally right, and yeah, and let's say it would be act utilitarianism. Yes, to improve overall well-being. Yes, and then I would also say he relates to relativism because I feel like he has his own moral standards and own moral rules. Like he would do things, um, he'll break into the police station. That's not morally right, but he's doing it to get information to beat the bad guy. And I would also say natural law theory. I feel like he does he follows like I said his own rules, his own laws, and that's what's natural to him. That's what he believes in. Okay. I'm gonna do Two Face or like Harvey Dent's character. I would. This one's a little confusing because I think he would be like psychological egoism. Um, because hold on, I have my notes right here. Because although like at first he's good guy, he's the I forget what he is. He's a good guy. I feel like deep down he's always had like these urges to do these bad things and to go against people, and so maybe his would be psychological egoism. And also rule you rultarianism, because as well as Batman, he follows his own rules. He was right. His rules would be like the coin flip, doing his infamous coin flip, like whatever it lands on, that's what you choose, and he will respect that. Into Joker, he's just pure chaos. I think he's like ethical egoism. He'll do whatever he thinks is right, whatever benefits him from the start, just because he wants just chaos. His was also be Hinduism and satisfaction theory because that's his ultimate goal. That's what makes him happy. He wants the chaos. He wants the craziness. He wants to stretch Batman to his limits. Let me see here. Okay, Jim Gordon, I would say he would be following virtuous ethics because I feel like he is the commissioner and a police officer, so he has the follows like a certain standard that I feel most people would follow. I would also say he follows social contract theory. Uh, he follows the whatever he's being told to by his higher ups. And at the end of the movie, for example, him and Batman, they're buddies, they're friends. But because Batman is now seen as a vigilante and he's seen as dangerous, he himself has to destroy the bat signal. So even though he doesn't want to follow these social contracts, he still has to do it. And yeah, there was a situation with Joker where it's at the end of the movie, there's two ferries. There's one with civilians and one with prisoners, and Joker uh, puts dynamite on both of them, and he gives them the option to blow up the other ferry or to or he'll blow them both up. Both of the fairies decided not to, and I feel like that was a good example of the principle of humanity, because although those other people were prisoners and they did bad things, they were like, no, they're still people, they still have families, we don't know what they've done. So, yeah.
Okay. Was that all that you had, or did you
That was
have more, or?
that was my basics.
Okay. That's a lot of great stuff. So let's try to go through some of it.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of interesting points. So my first I guess we'll start back with Batman. So you mentioned that Batman is possibly act utilitarian. So is the idea there that he is not following the law? He's just doing the actions that he thinks are right, and that's what makes him act utilitarian.
Yes, I would say so, because he's technically like a vigilante.
Okay, yeah. So being a vigilante is a good example of not following the rules, but he still does think what he's doing is right, something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, are there any good examples of that in the show where he's specifically breaking a rule that we might think is a good rule to follow, but Batman thinks he needs to break it?
I think he does. He like he said, he's it sounds silly talking about, but he's like always like breaking into like security systems and doing things like that so we can get information about the opponent and doing things like that so we can see like so we can gather his information because he's a detective and he does those things.
Yeah, yeah, and I think even doesn't in the Dark Knight doesn't he do a massive surveillance thing with people's cell phones or something like that? Am I thinking of the
Yes,
right movie?
I think so.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking of too.
So
Yes.
he violates people's privacy a lot, right?
Hmm.
Um in your book, so in your book it might not have this chapter, but some of the textbooks have a chapter on terrorism, and some of the books have a chapter on privacy violations. Do you
Okay.
remember which one your book has? It has
I
either
think
one
I
or the
might
other.
have heroism.
Terrorism.
I think I'm not sure.
Okay, so 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 that actually either privacy or terrorism probably apply to the Dark Knight, right? Because Batman is violating privacy, but the Joker is committing acts of terrorism.
Yes.
Arguably, right? I mean, would you agree the Joker is a terrorist?
Yes, I would agree with that. Definitely.
And so, speaking of the Joker, so you mentioned that the Joker might be an ethical egoist, he also might be a hedonist or desire satisfaction. So there's a truth to that, because the Joker, he's sort of like the whole thing about like joking around, he's sort of almost like doing this for fun, right? He's so in some
Exactly.
way it's fun for him, so he's a hedonist about it or something like that.
Yes.
um the other thing I was thinking about with the Joker, do you think the Joker might be an error theorist from the skepticism chapter?
Error theory.
Like,
I have
uh
to.
yeah, go on.
An error theorist. Like what?
Yeah, so the error theorists, they think all morality is an error. So they think it's. We talked in one of our sessions. We talked about like the idea that morality might be something like unicorns, like morality might not actually exist. And
Yeah.
it strikes me that the Joker might be an error theorist. He might think morality doesn't exist. What do you think about that?
I will. I agree with that. He just does whatever. Like he has just no moralities, just in general.
Yeah.
And like it's just like it is what it is. Like he's like, why aren't you guys doing this? Why aren't you guys with the chaos? Why aren't you guys? And he like involves people. Like he's always I don't know, but he's always putting people in these situations as well. Like he put Batman in the situation. Like, are you going to save Harvey Dent? Or are you going to save this woman that you love?
Yeah.
You know, so he also like understands morality in a way.
Okay. So he's almost like using it against them.
Yes, because like also like he did the ferry boats. Like he uses it against people, and he knows it puts them in dilemmas.
Yeah. Uh they they remind me of a dilemma that we talk about a lot in our course. Except instead of ferries, it's with trolleys, right?
Probably, yeah. So
Uh
he's always the
so
one doing.
yeah, he's always putting people in trolley problems. Funnily enough. Um Regarding those trolley problems, so we've mentioned two. So we've got the one where either the girlfriend dies, I can't remember her name. Do you remember her name?
Here he was Rachel.
Rachel, either Rachel dies or Harvey Dent dies. And Batman chooses Harvey, right?
No, he chose Rachel.
Oh, he did choose Rachel?
He chose Rachel, but when he showed up, it was Harvey that was there.
Really? So the Joker reversed it?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So, do you think I didn't realize he reversed it. So that sort of changes what we think Batman's motivations were. Do you think so if Batman chose Rachel, then was that what motivation do you think Batman had for that choice, and do you think that that was justified?
I think because it was he went to go save Rachel, and then his name, sorry, Gordon went to go save Harvey, but they were switched. The situations were switched, and I
Okay.
think it was
Okay.
like, I think for him it's very like, because Harvey Dent is also like he's a detective, you know, and but it was also like they both love this woman, so like maybe he was like, maybe Harvey can handle his own, but Rachel was just a civilian. She's innocent in this whole fiasco. But he
Okay.
could also been thinking like, well, this is the woman I love, this and this. Would Harvey be
Yeah.
able to be happy with me if I didn't say the woman he also loved? Because they both love this woman.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking was, do you think Batman's motives were pure? Like, do you think he did it because of his own selfish reason, which is that he loves Rachel, or did he think that did he do it for another reason?
I think he did it because he loves Rachel.
You think so?
I think so.
Do you think that so if Batman's an act utilitarian, do you think that's the act utilitarian thing to do?
No, it's not. It wouldn't be. I feel like you would try to save both in a way, like um, act
Yeah.
utilitarian.
So the best thing would be to save both, but presumably you can't save both, or maybe you can't save both. So would it be better to save Harvey over Rachel, do you think?
Well,
If you're a
Harvey was
utilitarian?
Harvey was like a big figure in the city. He was, I forgot what he was running for. I don't know if he was running for mayor at the time. And Harvey also had his back. He like admit, even though he wasn't Batman, he said he was Batman, so they could still like keep working and stuff like that. So he was a good friend to him, and but I guess love pushed all that to the side.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so Harvey was a lawyer, right? And he was running for, I think, district attorney,
I
if
think
I
that's what it was.
remember,
Yeah,
or chief prosecutor or something like that.
it's different in everything. It's always like mayor or chief something or running for something.
That's true in different versions of Two Face. Yeah.
Hmm.
So it might have been better to save Harvey just because Harvey was an important person, I guess. Do you think that
Yes,
that's reasonable to say?
yes,
Okay.
that's very reasonable.
Okay. So Harvey might have like helped more people and whatever.
Yeah. And he also just had the they wanted the same things for Gotham. They wanted to fix Gotham and they all had like the same like moral standards like Batman and Jim Gordon and Harvey.
Yeah.
They all had a plan with Gotham.
Yeah. So here's a question about Harvey. Um, so Harvey ends up becoming Two Face, and he does this coin flip type of situation, um, where he like kills them if it lands heads versus tails, right? Or kills them if it
Yes.
lands tails. I can't remember which is which. Uh, um,
It's heads. I think he has a
okay.
double headed coin.
Oh yeah, and it's like scratched on one side or something.
Hmm.
Yeah. So so Harvey has this reasoning that that's somehow fair, because he's sort of like giving everybody an equal chance to survive or something in that nature. Um,
Hmm.
and it reminds me of the chapter about inequality, where we're talking about like people having unequal positions in the world, through no fault of their own necessarily. So, do you think Harvey Dent? How do you think Harvey Dent is going wrong if he's going wrong with that?
What do you mean?
Well, I
Describe
guess
that.
yeah. I guess I mean, do you think that the coin flipping thing is fair at all? Is that a fair way to do justice? You're flipping a coin.
No, no, because there's always more than one answer or more than two answers. I mean, there's always like more choices.
Oh, okay.
It's
So would it have been more fair if he rolled a dice, like a six-sided dice?
Maybe 10-sided. No, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. um yeah, so
um,
but you're right. You're right that there are like there's more than just I kill you or I let you go, for sure. Those
yeah,
are there's way more choices than that. So that's a
yeah.
good point.
It shouldn't be 50-50. Definitely not.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems pretty unjust. Um so I guess unjust, but it's weird. It's weird what his logic might be. I'm not totally sure I understand why he thinks that that's fair. But maybe he has his own strange moral idea, his own moral theory to try to justify it. You know?
Yeah. Well, I think he quoted something. I forgot what he said. He said something about morality.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the only thing we really didn't talk about as much was the fairies. Maybe that can be the last thing we talk about. So you mentioned the principle of humanity.
Yes.
And so I guess the choice the choice is either one of them dies or they both die, the fairies, right? So I guess the utilitarian thing to do would be to blow up one of them. Does that sound right?
You. Yes. Well, it would be to save both. Find a way to save both. No.
That's true. So if you can save both, which I think Batman does save both, right?
Yes.
So if you can save both, then you should save both. But
Mhm.
if we say like if we are controlling the situation and we say no, you can only save one or both die, then the choice becomes, well, we need to save the most people, right?
Yes.
uh for a utilitarian. So is this a
Mhm.
this I would say is, I guess, a moment where the principle of humanity disagrees. So it's better to let both of them get blown up, according to the principle of humanity.
Mm, I guess it would be the same thing where they would try to save the most amount of people.
Well, that's not what they do though in the movie, right? They
No, no, no. They say everyone, like, they decide neither of them are going to will like touch each other's like explode each other, and then Batman's able to take the device from Joker.
yeah. So I guess I think you're onto something with the principle of humanity, because you're saying that both boats decide that they're not willing to kill the other boat, and sort of they know though that they could die, and they know that, but they're still willing to make the sacrifice anyway. So they're definitely not utilitarians, it doesn't seem like. So it is the idea that they're not. So with the principle of humanity, is it like they're not using the other boat as a means?
Yeah,
Okay, and to blow them up would be using them as a means, I guess.
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yes,
okay. Yeah, I think something like that is going on there.
yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, thank you, Kristen. Do you have any last thoughts you want to get off your chest before we go?
I did have a question. I went to the Gulag Mouse. Do you just want me to send you like the ticket stub, and are you gonna are you gonna put it up as like an assignment, or should I just send you this ticket stub?
Just send me whatever you have. Yeah, so if you have a ticket stub, You can definitely send me that, like just a picture of it or something through email. And
Okay.
I'll just basically at the end of the semester, I'm just going to add some extra credit points to anyone who's done the extra credit, and that'll be that.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, thank you so much, Kristen. Thank you for an interesting topic.
Alrighty. Thank you. Have a nice
Have a good
night.
one. You too.